So it is the 4th of July, and usually I would be going to a party, but today I was actually spending most of the day working outside, actually with my dad. My dad was probably working a lot harder than me, and I have to say thanks to him because he's done a lot of work and really helped me out. And I was just scraping and painting most of the day and sweating my ass off outside in this 95-degree weather. But we're going to talk a little about why the walkaway movement is even happening. I gave my personal story, I think, a couple of days ago, which is not really that current because I stopped believing in the Democratic Party about 18 years ago when I was 14. So that gives you a little idea of how long it's been. And I'm sure a lot of other people would probably ask, well, why is it relevant that you've left this circle of people so long ago, and yet you want to comment on this new movement, which some people are claiming is not really that large? I think that the same issues that were really big at the time are still, I mean, they're one of the reasons that it's being triggered today. A lot of the people who stopped voting for the Democrats over the years, they have the same reasons as today. They just noticed it a little earlier, or they're older people, so they remember it from a different time. Al Gore was the reason I left, but there's plenty of people. I remember 4 years later when there were the primaries going on. I still couldn't vote yet. I wasn't 18. I was taking the bus back from, it was the Rapid. We have a Rapid Metro here. It's just a small trolley type transit service that it's not that useful, to be honest with you, unless you just need to get downtown. But I was riding on it with, actually alone, and I was looking across the aisle, staring into space, and there was a guy sitting across from me, a black guy, and I think it was probably like in his 50s or 60s or something, that was shaking his head at the newspaper, and I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like reading about John Kerry. He's like, "Yeah, this John Kerry is kind of a clown." And he didn't say he was going to vote for George Bush, and he didn't say that he hated John Kerry because of his policies. He said that he looked like a clown, and for many people, that type of reaction has been going on for years because the Democratic Party, to be honest with you, has never really been a party of substance, at least not in my lifetime. People talk about, in fact, I have a book by him, Daniel Patrick Moynihan, he was kind of the brains of the Democratic Party in the Senate for a number of years. I think it was 22 years or so that he served in the Democratic Party. And yet there was simply nobody, who actually got into a position of power within the Democratic Party who brought their ideas to fruition. And a lot of people simply lost patience, and they started to realize that they would get into power and basically ignore people until the next election. That's one of the reasons that Trump was able to attract people in 2016. So why is there a walkaway movement today, 2 years later in 2018? Well, it's become emphasized since the 2016 election that the people who are opinion makers, the people who work in the elite media, whether it's Bloomberg or the New York Times, CNN, MSNBC, any of these elite journals, the Guardian, the Atlantic, the New Republic, they're not really serious about any ideas or policies that they think are great. I remember during the 2016 campaign, Sally Kohn actually stated, "Thanks to Bernie Sanders, I can finally, I became a socialist." Well, she hasn't really spoken about that since then. She's been very vocal about other topics, not so much about this one. It's just that, every once in a while they find a new skin to put on, and they pretend that they're a new animal. They put on a new costume or whatever, and they try to pretend that they're ahead of the curve and you're not. You're somehow just antiquated, and you don't have any beliefs that are really legitimate. Then they, if you emphatically disagree with them, they start to say, well, you must be some sort of cisgendered white male, homophobe or something, transphobic, Islamophobic. They use all those terms because they can't actually comprehend that other people have concerns that are not theirs. Okay, on any issue. Okay, whether it's the socialism, whether it's the immigration, whether it's the the issues of education, school choice or whatever. They always try to portray you as backward and behind the times. And if you want to create a change that they don't approve of, what do they always do? For example, I just said in education, they always say that public school is the bedrock of the education system. That without public schools, the education system is it's such a classic institution that it formed the foundations of the American Republic. Well, decide then. Do you believe in the tradition? Do you believe in keeping things the way they are, or do you believe in changing them? Because sometimes when I say I want to change something, you say, well, you're basically undermining the foundations of our very country. Changing the immigration policy, exactly the same thing. They say, well, the Statue of Liberty, it has this poem on it. Well, the poem was put on it by the French, so that's really their problem. If they want to let our immigrants in, fine. Vote Red in November says, have you seen these people climbing the Statue of Liberty? They can go ahead and climb they can climb up on my dick if they want, but I don't care what their whole message is if they don't want to listen to mine. If you want people to listen to you, it has to be reciprocal, and that's not the way the Democratic Party works. And people know that already. People are walking away not because they are conservative, not because I remember when I was growing up, the Republican Party was the party of Jerry Falwell and the Ralph Reed and the Christian Coalition. So although I kind of knew that the Democratic Party was not that great, I was like, well, these Republicans are kind of full of shit too. And I still think that the Republican Party is not a good party, but it's much less of a closed-minded group of losers than the Democrats are. So I think people should be free to choose between any party. I think people are more to the far left. Go ahead and vote for the Green Party or whatever. I do believe we need me personally, I feel like an independent. I have a lot of libertarian economic beliefs. I believe that we have to continue to conserve our natural resources and the national parks and all of that. Make sure that corporations are not destroying the untouched beauty of America's wildlife. That's something I believe in. Other people, they kind of look at that. They're like, well, then how can you vote for somebody like Donald Trump? Well, it's very simple that neither party will help uphold that. So I vote for the party that on other issues I find are important. They most closely they most closely conform to what I think is correct. And when it comes to taxes, when it comes to immigration, when it comes to school choice, there is no party that actually walks the walk better than the Republicans. So sometimes you kind of have to eat it, and it sucks. But with all that said, if you try to work your way in to the Republican Party and say, look, you suck as a candidate. We want somebody that represents our beliefs and ideas. It's much easier to replace somebody within the Republicans than it is within the Democrats. Just now, you saw there's all this fanfare over Ocasio-Cortez over in New York City, that she knocked off what's his name, Joe Crowley, and people think that was such a huge victory, but I think that there were a total of 20,000 or so votes in that election. However, there was also Mark Sanford, who was knocked out. He was knocked out, I think, earlier last month. he was a GOP establishment guy, and it was the same thing. So nobody did a huge celebration that his female opponent knocked him out. What was this? This was June 25th. So they started to say, well, this is really just a sign that the Republicans are getting more extreme. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but Mark Sanford has been kind of a joke his entire career. He left South Carolina in order to, pursue his affair when he was governor over there. So he deserved to lose. And I don't know how he got elected to Congress. Let me see here. I need to find the results. I don't know why I can't find something that's more normal. So we'll find the vote total. This is fucking slow as hell. And I can't even find the fucking results. It's like useless. So let me see here. Wikipedia. I can't. The news. They don't even report. They report a story. They don't even report the normal data. It's like impossible to actually. See here. Yeah, where's the? I know there's a lot of dead air here, but I can't believe Ocasio-Cortez's story was so huge. Yeah, you're not going to be able to see it on the screen. I just put this photo up instead. I hope you guys enjoy the otter photo. Why am I putting an otter photo? Because I don't give a fuck. I'm putting an otter photo because I like otters. So, So this was on June 12th. Jeez, fucking follow the link already. See if you guys have any questions in the meantime. Rapper 10,000 says, hey, I just joined the walkaway movement because I'm fed up with far-left media biases and anti-American demo rats. Hollywood and the rest of the media want to control the narratives. They're using those illegal immigrant children as pawns for political elections. Yeah, I mean, they'll find next time they'll find somebody who's even more victim. They'll find a different victim next time. So, let's move the otter over here. Whoops, wrong image. We'll move the otter up here, and you can see here, Ocasio-Cortez, she won her election primary with something like 13,000 votes. This woman unseated Mark Sanford. She had 33. So, and this was in South Carolina, and a much smaller district in terms of population than in the Bronx and Queens. So nobody really paid attention to that one. It's like ridiculous. They want to pay attention to, and now they're, by the way, next video, which I'll probably make in a couple hours or so, we'll see, because I have to go out there and stain the deck. So the next video is going to deal with the whole implication of her. And I'm not trying to criticize her specifically. I don't care because I'm not from Queens. The people of Queens can elect any idiot they want. And I'm not calling her an idiot. I'm just saying if they want to elect her, they can vote for her. And it's not going to make any difference because the district is solidly Democratic anyway, because the Republican Party, one thing that I will criticize them for is they don't try to swing for the fences. They don't try to go into those districts and actually engage with voters that are not traditional Republican voters. It's taken like a real grassroots effort, Tea Party people and all sorts of other anti-establishment people. Those are the people that have helped sustain the Republican Party, not the leadership. Not the leadership. And thankfully, the leadership has been weak enough that they just get defeated whenever we need to change them. And hopefully we'll defeat more of them and kick more of them out. Orrin Hatch is retiring this year. You have Mitch McConnell is going to be up for re-election in 2020. So hopefully he gets primaried out. And, hopefully we'll see a brand new party. And if not, I think eventually some similar phenomenon will happen with the Republican Party. This isn't just because you walk away doesn't mean you have to walk into the same house forever. Okay, it doesn't. Walking away means that you lose your previous affiliation and you go for something that is a little more to your liking. And it might be that there is no political party that fits that sort of perfect niche for you. Let me see here. Normalizing. So rapper says Hollywood and the rest of the media wants to control the narratives. They're using those illegal immigrants. Oh, he already said that. Normalizing socialism through Cortez. The DNC chairman called her the future of the party. I would say, yeah, absolutely. I saw that. I saw that Tom Perez did that, and it's going to be a real problem for Ocasio-Cortez to keep her candidacy popular if she's associated in any way with Tom Perez. Anybody associated in any way with Tom Perez has an image problem, especially Tom Perez himself. The man is an idiot. He's completely, just looks like a moron. He has that weird bald-headed, big tooth look. Nobody wants to see that. What else is here? Anybody in New York here, please tell your friends and family that this Democrat socialist does not know what she is talking about. Socialism is a massive failure. The problem is that some people in the colleges and other places giving these students some misleading information on what socialism is and why it is a major failure. I see Larry Gerke is here. Welcome back. Always good to have you. Look, I've said before that I don't care that she's a Democratic socialist. She won the nomination, and she deserves to win the election if she works the hardest. If there's nobody who's willing to work harder than her to win the seat, then nobody can complain. I think she does have an opponent in the race from, the Republican Party. And, if that guy's not willing to work hard and pound on doors and get the support in order to win, then Ocasio-Cortez deserves to win. And people should just accept it. It doesn't mean you have to support her, but the fact of the matter is that one person representing democratic socialism in Congress, while it sounds kind of scary, will probably be of no consequence. You have to remember that Bernie Sanders was in the House of Representatives for a few years in the 90s, up until 2006. He's only been in the Senate since 2006. He was in the House for, I think, 16 or 12, 14 to 16 years. I have his book here, Outsider in the White House. So I will say that they can go to the House, they can shout to the walls and whatever, and people will probably ignore her, and I could care less. And eventually, yeah, they can call her the face of the party, but in order for her to actually advance within the party, she'll have to give up. She'll have to give up a lot of her ideals in order to advance. The party makes you basically commit to their dirty business. And that's the way it works. So I will sign off. I don't want this to be a long live stream. I want to wish all of you a happy 4th of July. Larry Gerke, by the way, proud veteran. I'm sure, happy 4th of July to you. Any other veterans out there, happy 4th of July. TM Ryder, a.k.a. Ryan, thanks for joining. I hope that you subscribe to the stream. And everybody else, Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment on the video, and share the video. And I'll be back later, and hopefully I'll be back later. And I hope you enjoy it with your family and go see the fireworks. Or if you're in Canada or one of these other countries, just continue to hate America because it hasn't stopped us yet. Just kidding, guys.